Hello, welcome to the GCSE English revision videos. These videos are designed to help support you in your revision as you prepare for the exams this summer. This first set of videos is focused on paper 1, which is your fiction writing and creative focused exams. We're going to look at the reading questions first, and this first video will be on reading question 1, which carries 4 marks and is the shortest question on the papers. The extract we're going to look at is from a book called Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier, and you will need a copy of this mock exam paper to continue with the video. There is a link available underneath for you to print that off. Jamaica Inn was written in 1936 but focuses on events further back in history in the 19th century. The novel opens with the character of Mary Ellen on a journey in a stagecoach. So question 1 carries 4 marks and is the most straightforward and easiest of the questions across both papers. It will always ask you to do the same thing. You have to list 4 things for 4 marks in this question. The skills that you're being assessed on in this question is the ability to pull explicit meaning from a text, so the more obvious things, and potentially more implicit meaning, so things that are hinted at or suggested by the text. My advice is that you keep this one as simple as possible. You will always be given line references with which to pull your information. This is always from the very beginning of the extract and can be as little as 3 lines, but is more likely to be lines 1 to 7 or 9. For this example, you're going to be asked to look at lines 1 to 7. You do not need to write in full sentences for this question, but you need to make sure that your meaning is clear. There will always be more things you can write than are available in the text. I will show you on the next slide the mark scheme with some of the suggested answers, but please remember that anything goes here. You can really pull whatever it is that you want to write down. Just make sure that you're being very clear and you're focused on the direct wording of the question. For example, if a question asks you to look for things about a character, don't be writing about the setting or the events. Keep focused on the wording of the question. So question 1 says list 4 things about the weather in this part of Cornwall. You're looking on lines 1 to 7. I'll read that extract out for you and you can follow along on the screen. It was a cold grey day in late November. The weather had changed overnight when a backing wind brought a granite sky and mizzling rain with it, and although it was now only a little after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the pallor of a winter evening seemed to have closed upon the hills, cloaking them in mist. It would be dark by 4. The air was clammy cold, and for all the tightly closed windows it penetrated the interior of the coach. The leather seats felt damp to the hands, and there must have been a small crack in the roof because now and again little drips of rain fell softly through, smudging the leather and leaving a dark blue stain like a splodge of ink. Okay, now over to you. You would have 5 minutes to answer this question in an exam, so please pause the video and time yourself listing 4 things from this part of the text about the weather in Cornwall. If you get extra time in the exam of 25% extra, you may choose to spend 1 or 2 extra minutes answering this question. Okay, so how did you get on? From the mark scheme, we have a few points that you may have mentioned. It was a cold day. The weather had changed overnight. There was a wind. There was mist on the hills. The air was clammy. The air was cold. It was raining. Those are some of the things you might have chosen, but of course anything else may be considered by the examiner as well, providing it's focused on the weather in Cornwall at that time. How did you do? Hopefully you found that useful. That is the easier question, so let's call that a warm-up. When you're ready, click on the next video to have a practice at question 2, the language analysis.